Thank you for staying with us. Nigeria is a giant oil-producing nation with 4 oil refineries, yet largely depends on oil imports. Pipeline vandalization has become a drain on the nation's economy. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, had talks with some external licensors to undertake process audits on its 4 oil refineries. Here is more with Kenneth Karori and Amelunga.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has announced that it's planning to reduce the country's importation of petroleum products by increasing the capacity usage of the nation's refineries to 60% this year and 80% by the end of 2018. According to the Group Managing Director of NNPC, Maikan Tubaro, Nigeria is keen on putting an end to product importation in a few years. The company says that a solid plan has been put on ground to achieve that. Nigeria has 5 refineries, 2 in Port Harcourt, Warri, Kaduna and Ogbele, with combined capacity of 446,000 barrels per day. 4 of these refineries are operated by NNPC subsidiaries. The Ogbele, which is a 1,000 barrel capacity private diesel topping refinery in River State, is run by the Niger Delta Petroleum Resources. NNPC says the plan is in addition to other efforts put in place, adding that Nigeria should be able to end importation in a few years. The 4 refineries are largely underutilized due to maintenance issues. Data from industry regulator Department of Petroleum Resources indicate that all the refineries combined had worked an average of 20% since 2010. Therefore, any increase in capacity will be a big boost for petroleum products availability, which importation is estimated at over 10 billion naira monthly. The capacity increase will also permanently put an end to the burden petroleum subsidy, which, though not provided in the 2017 budget, many fear will resurrect, given the rising price of crude at the international oil market. Nigeria's lack of refineries means that the country, which is Africa's biggest oil producer, has to export about 90% of its crude oil and import back petroleum products at international prices. The government then sells fuel to Nigerians at subsidized prices and reimburses the difference to importers.
Now, more on that report, we have Mr. Balazaka from Lagos, an energy expert on the line. Welcome to the program. Now, the NNPC has announced to reduce the importation of petroleum products in the countries by increasing the capacity usage of the refineries. Now, do you think this is visible?
100% possible and feasible. It's purely or solely dependent on the political will of the government and the attitude or the philosophy of the current generation of leaders. I will explain this to you with a very, very simple example. When you look at the case of the Nigerian oil and gas industry, between 1965 and 1989, the then generation of leaders were able to construct 4 good refineries with a refining capacity of crude oil to the tune of 445,000 barrels per day. And that was supposed to give just petrol to the tune of 40 million liters per day if the refineries operate at 90% capacity. But between 1990 and 2016, which is like 26 years, the current generation of leaders between 1990 and 2016 have not been able to construct a single refinery in 26 years. They've also not been able to maintain the 4 refineries they inherited. So that on its own will tell you that it has a lot to do with the philosophy and the ideology or the focus of the current generation of leaders. Once the political will is there, it's going to be possible.
Now, what will be the effect of this reduction or complete abstinence of importation of petroleum products in the country?
There will be a huge advantage. First of all, the first thing that is going to happen is this. Once you have the refineries here, you can always import equipment, right? Every country imports one equipment or the other to make sure you maintain your refineries or your facilities. But the first thing that will happen is this. You will get the crude oil from the wellhead in Naira. You will move them to the refineries in Naira. You will refine them in Naira. You will distribute to Nigerians in Naira. You will generate your Naira. That on its own will free Nigeria from what? From exchange rate differentials. Another point again is this. If Nigeria decides to take advantage of just and decide to generate electricity from the gas, that means from just the natural gas, you will be able to generate sufficient electricity. Another thing again that will happen is this. If we decide to stop importation and we look inwards, we can generate ammonia. And ammonia is a major component of urea. From urea, you can get fertilizer. Then from fertilizer, you will boost agriculture. So from just this point alone, we will free ourselves from exchange rate differentials. We can produce fertilizers. Then we will free up the automobiles because there will be electricity. And when that happens, then the aggregate economy will start growing. The strategic industrial sector will start growing. The strategic domestic sector will start growing. And the strategic commercial sector will start growing. So that will be good for Nigeria, that will be good for Sub-Saharan Africa, and that will be good for the continent of Africa.
Thanks for coming on the show. And with that, we've come to the end of this week's edition. Get interactive via our social media platforms, both in English and French. Join us again same time next week.